Kononopin, Wanga, Diala Johnson. How are you? My name is Diala Johnson. This is my third year reporting to you as your environmental coordinator for the annual meeting. Sorry I couldn't be there in person. I'm happy to provide you with a recorded report. So this report will reflect our current fiscal year. It's going to be ending next week for 2017. It began October 1st, 2016. This is also our second four-year grant period with EPA. We had our first four-year closeout last September. So I look forward to reporting this to you, and I hope you can enjoy the presentation I created. The background picture is when Hattie Keller had come to the youth camp this year to teach us the basics of Inupiat language. She taught us the introduction portion. So this picture is when I was teaching the youth camp about renewable energy, as that has been a huge focus for us. So the first thing I want to go over is our 2017 work plan components. Each component listed in our work plan is the work that I have to obviously work on with the tribe and then report on a regular basis with EPA and the council. With the council, it's monthly, and then with EPA, it's quarterly, so 4 times a year for them. And it's just a way to measure our activity and all the objectives. So our first one is to continue to meet monthly with our traditional council. So I do provide them written reports when they have council meetings, which is usually monthly. I also meet with our tribal coordinator to ensure financial management of the grant. Liz and I have been able to work together on keeping the budget in compliance. In the past, we had issues before with our budget not being spent out entirely, but a lot of that was due to staff turnover. So this year, we are actually spending our money in a very consistent time frame. We're on track right now, so I'm hoping that we can stay on track for the next 3 years. We have been awarded another grant for FY18, so October 1st, 2017, our 2018 grant award will go into effect. Attend and participate in environmental trainings and conferences. Part of that is actually what I have been doing all of this last week. At our Regional Tribal Operations Committee, I'm an Alaska rep. I was appointed as an alternate for another Alaska rep. She was the primary, and then she had retired her position, and I just automatically became the primary rep for Alaska. We have 3, so that requires me to attend the in-person meetings. So today I'm actually traveling back home. We would have ended our meetings this morning. So when I attend my conferences and trainings, I provide a trip report to the council and to EPA. We also have an environmental conference in Anchorage in November. And then we have an upcoming in February and another in March. All of these trainings are either attended by me or our council members. Our water quality expert is Derek Johnson. He attended a water sampling recertification class at the Northwest Campus in Nome, provided by UAF and Norton Sound Health Corporation Environmental Department. He goes every year to make sure that he is in EPA compliance as far as conducting our water sampling activities. Derek is also very good at keeping the inventory in check to conduct his water sampling activities. So he normally contacts me, or he's working with Liz on making sure his orders are coming in as needed. And this year, I believe it's going to be happening either at the end of this month or the beginning of October is when he will complete his 3rd sampling year. And we are approved in our quality assurance project plan to conduct a 5-year baseline of data. Derek has been collecting specific data from our watershed, from 5 different site locations in our watershed, to have a baseline data so that we can look back at it if there were any new activity in our watershed, so that we can say, okay, this isn't safe, or this is safe, our water is still fine, we can continue this activity. It's really for our use and for our future protection in our watershed. So our quality assurance project plan is required by EPA, and it is about a 30 to 35 page document, a living document, that the tribe can revise as they see fit. But it is required by EPA to perform any sampling activities, any kind of environmental sampling activities, which Derek has been doing. And with the QAP revisions, we would like to include future mining metals. We would want to start collecting that type of data in case we do have future mining, and then we can reflect on our baseline data that says, okay, well, the levels were this high with this certain metal, and now they've increased by X amount of, that our revisions for our QAP have been happening. Over the last year, our sampling season kept us busy, so we weren't able to finish or complete our revisions. And it is always a lengthy process to get it approved by the council and by EPA, and then to have it go into effect. So I'm hoping that after the sampling season, we'll have a new approved QAP before the next sampling season, and we can have that in effect for our 4th year. We've been focusing on renewable energy, and we had just added our renewable energy component into this last fiscal year, FY17. We would like to conduct a feasibility study for potential renewable energy sources. So part of that, we had our first renewable energy strategic community gathering in Solomon on the last day of youth camp. We had USDA Jesse Huff. We had CoWeric's energy specialist and his community program director. And we also had Rob Benson from BSDC. He's the lead on the Pilgrim Hot Springs and renewable energy projects. So what we're trying to figure out is how we can conduct the feasibility study. There's a lot of small little objectives that we have to have in place before we're able to even have the study. It's going to cost us a lot of money also. So pulling in those plans and then the funding sources and then to implement it is kind of a lengthy process as well. So we are working on it. I have a draft which I included for you guys to review this meeting. We will have our second renewable energy strategic planning gathering with the community in Anchorage in November, I'm hoping. So details will follow within the next month. But we are working on figuring out which renewable energy source would be best and most effective in Solomon, so that we can kind of lay off the generator a little bit more. Developing a renewable energy plan. So I have that first draft for your review. We were able to come up with a vision statement at our first gathering, and we kind of went over some long-term goals and some objectives to include in that plan. After our second gathering, I'm hoping to complete our first draft and have that approved by the council and the tribe by January 2018. And of course, the ultimate goal is to decrease reliance on the non-renewable energy sources, which would be our diesel generator, and to seek outside funding sources outside of EPA to implement these plans. And then we have the education and outreach portion of our work plan. So hosting biannual IGAP update and educational gatherings for the membership. I did do an educational gathering with the youth camp, and I had also done another educational gathering before, I think it was around springtime, with the tribe. Continue to educate tribal members on the 3 R's. I have my second postcard that should be coming out in the mail in the next couple weeks. and to host an environmental educational youth summit. I did host that at the mini convention center on August 5th, 2017. It went all right. It was really nice to be able to host that around the time of youth camp. So we did have our own tribal members from outside of Nome attend. So that was really great. It was fun. I mean, our youth summits are usually educational, and having those partners there to volunteer make it just really great to be a part of. I know that it was also a really nice day, and Nome didn't have very nice days. It had been raining and cold a couple weeks leading up to that, and then it was on a Saturday, so there weren't a lot of not a lot of youth that attended, but it was still a lot of fun with the youth that did attend. We had about 17, and last year we had about 50. So our water sampling reporting would be performed tonight by Derek Johnson, and I just want to just really quickly just say that he is going to be completing our third year in the beginning of October. So our third year of sampling data collection, that's really great that we're able to move forward with that. And then, like I said before, he has been recertified at the Northwest Campus for water sampling, which is required by EPA to conduct these activities. So here is the flyer that I had for the Educational Youth Summit in Nome. Some pictures so that you can see we do provide reusable water bottles. We also provide little notepads and pens so that they're able to take notes at these little educational stations. We had 5 this year. This was Gay Sheffield's educational station. She's from UAF. She focuses on marine biology and how the climate and plastic, anything that affects the marine wildlife in our region, she knows about, and she was able to talk to the youth about that. We also had Robert Benson from Bering Straits Development Company come and discuss solar panels, how they work. He showed a little demonstration of how it works with a little tiny jar. That was really cool. We also had Vanessa Topbone focused on recycling and reusing and reducing. She's from Coeric. We had National Park Service again. They did a fun little game, and they just talked about ocean pollution and some of the wildlife that we have away from the ocean in the region. Amy Johnson from our tribe. She was my temporary assistant. She was able to help me coordinate everything and set up, take down. It was a long day. It was a lot of setup. The mini convention was a lot of work to have a youth summit at. And then we had 17 youth participants from the Nome area, including our membership. Here's another picture. This was a National Park Service employee. And in the beginning, we kind of had to gauge the word environment with the youth participants. So all the words surrounding the word environment were the words that they came up with as far as what it meant to them. Some of them fishing, family, glass rocks, camping. Someone even said sad. So how, when you say environment, what do they think of? And so it was really interesting, nice to understand how they view it. The kids ranged in age from 3 to, I think the oldest was 14 or 16. We had a couple people come in later in the time, and I think she might have been 16. So we also offered some refreshments. So on the picture on the left, you can see a group of kids getting some refreshments. I made PB&Js. We also provided reflective backpacks that are made out of recyclable materials. On the right, we have National Park Service table, and then with one of our tribal members, Bella Bone. And then at the end of all of our educational stations, we ended our afternoon with a beach cleanup. So here's a picture of the National Park Service and some of our youth attendees picking up some trash. We had about 3 bags full. We just cleaned up right behind the mini convention center. One thing, just I just want to quickly mention this. There were a group of kids at a fire throwing cologne sprays into the fire and watching them explode. So we probably picked up about 20 different cans of cologne spray. So that was very odd, but I guess it might be a new thing. So maybe if you have any kids or know of any kids, maybe make sure that they're not throwing the cologne spray. That, I mean, one of them threw in a cologne spray, and we must have been about 20 feet away from where they were, and it broke apart in the fire and exploded, and then one piece flew onto my forehead. So it's dangerous, and then who knows what kind of chemicals they're releasing into the air. It was toxic. I don't know. It was very strange. So here is another picture of youth camp when I focused on renewable energy with the youth campers. Very exciting new educational piece that I can do with our youth camp. We had our strategic gathering for our first draft of our renewable energy plan. In the background in this picture, you can see some of our youth camp sitting around because it's really important to have our youth involved. And then also some of our community members come and be a part of this in Solomon. So that was really great. So we had our youth camp attendees. We also had Kirsten, Liz, Cameron Piscoya, Jesse Huff, Leroy Sepulu from Coeric, Obi Simonis from Coeric, and Robert Benson from BSD. So when we hosted our first renewable energy plan strategic gathering in Solomon, we developed a vision, which is develop and innovate renewable energy that is consistent with our cultural identity. We spent a good amount of time trying to figure out and how to kind of compact it into how we view our future energy. So Cameron came up with this, and I mean, he just came up with it really quickly. It was really great that he was there and able to contribute such a small but impactful energy vision for Solomon. We also listed our goals and our values for our renewable energy plan. So just quickly, we have goals as heat, hot water, year-round residency, education, self-sustainable food, safe water, some of our values, resiliency, cultural traditions, sense of community, responsible development. These will all be listed in our first draft and then also included in our completed renewable energy plan. We can add on, delete. This is going to be a living document, so how we view it as a tribe, that is what needs to be in our plan. So just some of the results from our first gathering. So we'll be hosting our part 2 strategic gathering in Anchorage by the end of December. We are leaning more toward November, mid-November in Anchorage. So I want to have a completed renewable energy plan between January and March, and then we'll have that plan serve as a resource to seek funding to implement the plan. And the Department of Energy wasn't able to come to our first gathering, but they are planning to attend our second gathering. And what they do is they kind of give us more of like a guided structure for developing such a comprehensive plan. So they're going to be jumping on as a partner for us in this component for renewable energy. We also have Coeric, Bering Straits Development Company, and USDA on board with us as well. The next steps for our renewable energy plan. Our goals is to have education for our membership in regards to renewable energy. We also want to learn about energy efficiency, how to conduct energy audits, and where we need to be having these energy audits. Obviously, we want cost-saving efforts because I think a lot of us know how much energy costs, our electricity, our hot water, everything in between. And operation and maintenance, which I guess kind of ties into our educational portion too. So those are goals, and what I'm hoping to put these goals into effect for our Solomon Community Center / our bed and breakfast. I think it's really important to include all of these goals into our homes because we are a distant community and we all live in different areas. Anchorage, California, Oregon, Nome. And then in our tribal offices, like the one that you're in, we should be having energy efficiency appliances everywhere. And we should always be open for the educational piece. This background picture is at the youth camp, and we were making blueberry jam. That was a lot of fun. So our renewable energy plan components and the framework, just to kind of give you guys more of an idea of where we're going with this component for renewable energy. So we have the tribal commitment and ongoing education and strategizing in unity, which is great that we're going to be able to host a gathering focused on renewable energy with our Anchorage folks. And, you know, anyone right outside of Anchorage that's willing to travel and come be a part of this. Similar to our local economic development plan gatherings, very similar. And implementation plans. Having an implementation plan is integral for our renewable energy plan because we need to figure out in detail how are we going to implement our goals and our objectives, how we see our future energy in Solomon being brought to life. It's very important to have those implementation plans. Identifying, recognizing, acknowledging our needs, our immediate needs and our long-term needs. Those are very important pieces as well. Prioritizing our goals and our objectives. We prioritize our village priorities on our LEDP every year at our annual meeting. So take that experience and put it toward our renewable energy plan. And then identifying funding sources. That's going to be mostly on me, but if you guys have any ideas, please let me know. Completing our renewable energy plan and revisiting it as a living document. So I'm hoping that we can revisit this every 5 years and change, revise, delete, add, whatever we need to do as we see it fit, how it fits our needs as a tribe. So back to our youth camp and renewable energy. This is a picture of our youth campers, Bella and Peter, building a community model of how they see future energy in Solomon. I taught the youth camp about the renewable energy and encouraged the youth to become our future Solomon energy leaders. They put a little small wind farm made out of paper, pencils, and clay. They even went outside and grabbed some tundra and some dirt and super glued it on, or hot glued it onto this piece of cardboard and made solar panels out of aluminum foil and put that on top of the B&B and even on the bunkhouse. They were able to present that community model to the strategic energy planning gathering that we had in Solomon on the last day of youth camp. And then they also made this this little banner. This year's theme at youth camp was smoke fish, not tobacco. And so we collected all of the water bottles that we used at youth camp and hot glued them onto a piece of paper and put that as we framed a salmon. So they were excited to be able to do something like that. It was really cool. It looked awesome. Here's a background picture of the community model. A lot of the youth campers participated in creating that. So I would like to know, what is the best way to provide educational, environmental outreach to you as our tribal member for Solomon? And is there any way that I can get you more engaged with our department or our activities? Open to everything. Oh, here's a picture of the recycled water bottles in the shape of a salmon. And it says, smoke fish, not tobacco. And currently, we are seeking Energy Leadership Committee members. The Energy Leadership Committee is going to serve as kind of our go-to tribal members that are putting their time and resources into helping me develop the renewable energy plan. And I guess really what we're asking is you to be willing to commit your time for little conferences, just planning meetings on the phone or on Skype, however we're able to, whatever is the best way to get in contact. And the ability to learn and the willingness to learn about the renewable energy industry. Got to be a tribal member, and I would appreciate 18 and older. So we do have the invitation letters available at the office, and if you have any questions, any concerns, or any feedback about that at all, please contact me. My email is listed, igap.solomon@gmail.com. I'm hoping to have all of the letter of interest for the committee by October 31st, 2017, so that we can move forward as a committee within the next, before our next strategic gathering anyway. So open to questions, comments, or suggestions. Please let me know, and I hope that you guys enjoy the rest of your annual meeting.